Consider One Another is a podcast focused on each other. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast that is all about stirring up love and good works in one another. I'm here with Jonathan Keehn as the first person on the Consider One Another podcast, and he is first for good reason. But for now, Jonathan, thank you for being here today.
I'm glad to be here.
There's lots of reasons for Jonathan to be first on the podcast. What is noteworthy to me is that our brothers are preachers together on the Seattle side of things. My brother Caleb, Jonathan's brother Ben, are the preachers over at the Kirkland Church of Christ. They have a podcast over there called Evergreen Faith. Check it out if you're into podcasts. But a couple weeks ago, Jonathan said to me, hey, they have a podcast. Maybe we should record a podcast. And I said, hey, be careful what you wish for. And here we are. And we made it happen. More good reason to have Jonathan here is we are in my office here at the church building, which looks awesome. And Jonathan's wife, Kate, along with some others, many others, put together and made an old classroom. That's what this was, right?
An old classroom.
Just an old classroom into my new home. And I don't know, what do you think, Jonathan? It looks pretty homey, yes?
I'm glad you like it. I think it looks homey.
I
it's better than the classroom it was.
Yes, but still with the same view. I got my trees out the window. I got my whole setup here, and I love it. So that just goes along with many other thank yous. A thank you for making me feel at home. Jonathan and Kate have been, and May. Jonathan, Kate, and May have just done such a good job at making us feel home here. So thank you, Jonathan. Before we start learning more about Jonathan, we want to set the precedent. This podcast is always going to start with Scripture. So Jonathan, I'm going to read Psalm 27. Then once I finish, you just go ahead and share your thoughts. Does that sound good? Okay. Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked came against me to eat up my flesh, my enemies and foes, they stumbled and fell. Though an army may encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war may rise against me, in this I will be confident. One thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion, in the secret place of his tabernacle. He shall hide me, he shall set me high upon a rock. And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies all around me. Therefore I will offer sacrifices of joy in his tabernacle. I will sing, yes, I will sing praises to the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me when you said, seek my face. My heart said to you, your face, Lord, I will seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not leave me nor forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take care of me. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me in a smooth path because of my enemies. Do not deliver me to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and such as breathe out violence. I would have lost heart, unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord.
I mean, that's a very encouraging scripture, a very encouraging psalm. It helps me put into place the things that I'm going through in life, where I read that and I'm reminded of the difficult things that David faced and struggled with. And, you know, he's throughout that psalm repeatedly asking the Lord for help as he struggles against his enemies. It makes me realize that as difficult as things may seem in my life, I don't have enemies like David had.
Hopefully, knock on wood. Yeah. I just said don't knock on this, but knock on wood.
For effect, yes. And so that's encouraging. Also, just the reminder that there is comfort found in waiting on the Lord and trusting in him to take care of me and my family, and seeing that was really David's call in that prayer to wait on the Lord in spite of all the difficult things in front of him. It reminds me of when he was hiding in the cave, and twice he had opportunity to take Saul's life, but he refused to strike down the anointed of God, instead waiting on God to affect his change. So
Yeah, and so it's easy to read a psalm like this. Typically what we do is we take the highlights, verse 1, verse 14, we're like, that sounds like a great song. And so we sing that, wait on the Lord, and we love that hymn. It's a great hymn. But then you fill in the gaps with what's in the middle here. You might be thinking, like, what are we reading this for, Will? This does not apply to me much at all. Hopefully no one's chasing me. What I love the way you bring that around is it can be an awesome perspective shift. Hey, he went through some craziness, even having the chance to take someone's life, chooses not to. Why? Because he's waiting on the Lord. So the things that we're waiting on might be different now, hopefully.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
the principle's the same.
Yes.
The principle's the same of waiting on the Lord, and if he can do it, so can we. The principle there launches us into this discussion of what I want to talk about with you at least at first.
Absolutely.
So like when I first met you, Starbucks was the only thing I knew about you. Like you showed us this picture of your workplace and all the coffee you were trying. You're like a coffee taste tester. It sounded like a made up job. Maybe it was. But now, since I have moved here, like I think the first Wednesday we were here, you raised your hand to say, hey, we've put in our last day at Starbucks. Now we're looking for officially the next thing. Yeah. And that has been just a major component of the last month. So now you're waiting for that next thing, which is exciting, hopefully. Scary, terrifying too. What has that process of waiting been like? And specifically, how has prayer shaped your perspective through the waiting?
Yeah. Prayer is a comfort through the waiting. Really. Trusting that God is going to provide for me and my family, while doing what I can to seek out opportunities and to pursue leads, but knowing that ultimately, the care for us is in God's hands. The whole process is kind of an exercise. I mean, when I think about it, we are not we like to think and live like we're in control of our lives every day.
Right.
I'm going to get up. It's like, is it James? Do not say tomorrow I will go to such and such a city and conduct this business. James 4. But instead say if the Lord wills it. And this is a good reminder, a good exercise in that and lifestyle where my direction right now, I'm going to be an electrician. And I need to remember to say, if the Lord wills it, I'm going to be an electrician.
Yes.
And even before that, with my job at Starbucks, which I was very blessed to have, and really I give all credit to God in me even coming into that role. It's easy to get into a position and think, this is my job, this is what I do, this is who I am. And I was fortunate to find myself in a place to be given an opportunity to leave when I was seeking to leave. But the things like that can be taken from you, can be taken from anyone. I mean, I'm reminded of Job. He was loved of God, and yet he had all of his possessions taken away in a day, and all of his family taken away in a day. And that can just as easily happen to any of us. And so all that to say, like right now, I'm in no different position than I was before. At least I hope. That's my outlook, is that just as I was trusting on God to take care of me when I had my job at Starbucks, I'm now trusting God to take care of me when I do not, and as I'm looking to move on to the next thing.
Okay. So now I'm picking up what you're putting down. You give glory to God for the job, like all of us employed folks will say, like, okay, yes, this is God's doing, not my own, and he's going to take care of me, and he has through this job. Now, in a different phase of life, same thing.
Yes.
God is going to take care of me here, too. It's a discussion that will take longer than the 30 minutes we have.
Yeah.
But the difference between, like, providence and just things happening, like, where is God working here? But when I think about what Starbucks offered you as a chance to be compensated to leave, you were thinking about leaving, I think that's an answer to prayer.
Absolutely. No, I had this in mind for those who aren't familiar with the geography over here.
Yeah.
We live an hour ferry boat ride away from Seattle. And so that was my commute into work every day, was to take that ferry boat into Seattle and work and then come home. And before Kate and I had May, that was fairly easy. Our schedules could be flexible. Kate wasn't, she wanted me to be home, but she wasn't relying on me to be home to relieve her of the care of May. And since we've had May, it's just become more and more of a tax on our life for me to have that commute. And also, if I leave work 5 minutes late, it's not like I get home 5 minutes later. If I leave 5 minutes late, I miss my boat, and now I'm at home an hour later. And so for the year, I've been looking for work over on this side of the water and seeking out opportunities. I dropped off resumes at a number of electrical shops over here, and really had no bites and no plan forward other than to just keep looking. And then Starbucks offered this opportunity for their employees to voluntarily separate and to be compensated for it. And I took it. And the day after I signed the paper, I had my first bite on an interview. Actually, not even the day after. It was the same day. I told my boss, I signed the paper, I turned it in, and an hour or two later, I heard back from an application I'd submitted, and they wanted to interview me in 2 days. I didn't get that job. And that was hard.
Yeah.
I was discouraging because it was like, it just felt like it was going to line up perfectly. I'd start this new job as soon as I left Starbucks.
Right. It feels like the answer to prayer.
It does.
Like, oh, God's...
Yeah. And I'm going to get a big lump sum paycheck in the middle of it.
Just like I thought.
And then the day after I found out I didn't get that job, I was having my parents over. We were on the ferry boat, and I got a call from Kurt Russell here.
Shout out
church.
Kurt Russell.
Not the
Kurt
actor.
Russell here. Our Kurt Russell, the good one.
Yes. And he had another opportunity for me, and it had only been a day since I'd found out I wasn't going to get the other job, and here was another opportunity being put in front of me. And now that's the one I'm waiting on. I'm in the middle of the process there. I've had an interview. I'm waiting to hear back. I'm hopeful. But it's difficult because I'm torn right now. I got very comfortable trusting that was going to be the job, but I don't know if that's going to be the job.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I need to be looking for other opportunities. And so I've started looking for other opportunities this week as I've been waiting. And I've started digging more into what it will be like to be an electrician, and starting to seek more opportunities to just educate myself so that if I have another interview, if this one doesn't work out, and if I have another interview, I can more directly speak to it.
Yeah. And
that's where, like, I don't want to say, like, God's going to take care of me so I don't have to do anything.
Yes, that's the balance that I'm thinking about here. Where's the balance there of trusting God and letting Him take care of you, but you don't want to just do nothing either.
Yeah.
Where does that factor in? And it sounds like you're balancing that best you can.
I'm navigating it.
It's navigating it, and the way you're navigating it, I love what you opened with, is that prayer is a comfort.
Yeah.
And to me, that reminds us of what our comfort is in, because prayer is not going to be very comforting if you see it as a wish list. Because like you said, that job, you get the interview the day after, and you're like, I love prayer. It's working. Yeah. This is great. And then that falls through. Yeah. Okay? It stinks. But then you're like, well, this isn't very comforting because I didn't get my wish list the way I thought I would. Or are we viewing prayer as a wish list, or are we viewing it as a comfort in itself? Yeah. Is the comfort the explicit answers, or is it the prayer itself? So tell me more about that, specifically as it relates to the young adult prayer group. It's so special. I'm so grateful you guys just welcomed me and my wife into that group right away. It's really cool. It's really cool. I've been a part of a lot of cool things, and this is unique. That every other Thursday at Jonathan's home, there's going to be people there eating dinner together and then praying together. How has that prayer being a comfort been seen in that young adult prayer group? And rewind just a little bit further, how did that group even get started?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start by saying I'm glad that you're all joining us, because it really brings us closer to that young adult age range. Some of us, I think, are wishful thinkers as we near our 40s and group ourselves with these young adults. But that aside, part of when Kate and I moved out here to Bremerton, a big something that we held very important to us was that we live close to the building, close to the people that we are meeting with, so that we can have our home open to members of the church and be a gathering place. And we've been parts of groups that have had successful gatherings outside of the normal Sunday, Wednesday church. We've been parts of groups that have attempted and it's failed for one reason or another. All with people who love the Lord and love each other, but for one reason or another, it's just difficult to set that time aside. And so after we had May, we realized that if we didn't do something, if we didn't make an effort to start something, it was never going to happen. It's one of those things where, we wanted to have a regular gathering with people, but it was never the right time. And the reason it was never the right time, we realized, is because we just weren't doing it. And so it was really a difficult time for us when May was barely 4 or 5 months old. We just set to it, and we outlined some things that would make it as easy as possible for people to join. Really the biggest barrier we find in gatherings like these is all the expectations we set about how it has to be a certain way.
Right.
So the first thing we set out was it's just going to be at our house. We're not going to have a list of people sign up for it. If people want to host it, they're welcome to, but the default is it's just going to be here. It's just going to be at our house. We're going to open our house every other Thursday. That's a frequency that is enough, that is regular, but not so often that you never have time to do anything else. Mm-hmm. It's going to be around dinner time, but so people aren't worried about rushing to eat their dinner or planning to like make a dinner together. We're just going to have it be an open table. Anybody can bring their dinner if they want, show up at 6, we'll all eat together. But
he just did Eric
But really, this is a very relaxed start time. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to sit around the table and we're going to start discussing things that we want to pray for. The impetus for this, for making it a prayer group instead of a study group or some other gathering, I just, you read in Acts particularly, many examples of Christians gathering together to pray. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like it was a part of their life that they were doing together, and at times specifically focused on that. And that's not something that we really saw practiced in the churches that we've been in, grown up in, for one reason or another, for many reasons, I'm sure. So it's something that we wanted to try to do and to provide space for and an opportunity for. And so that's why we made it a prayer group. I do not believe it looks anything like it did in the early church. What we do at our house. Maybe, perhaps. I have no idea what it looked like. You hear about the Christians gathering when Peter was in prison, and were they at John's house? I don't recall whose house it was at, but they were praying fervently that he be released, and that something be done. And I feel like ours is much more relaxed than that. But at the same time, it's the same kind of idea about us starting this gathering, where if you never start something, you're never going to grow in it. You're never going to do it. And so you can plan and talk about how it would be good to have this or that or do this thing or that thing. But until you start doing it, you're not going to learn what works or what doesn't work. And so by having this prayer group, we have this group of people that come together every other Thursday, and we're praying together. We're talking to each other about things that we're struggling with, that other people are struggling with, and then bringing those things up to God in prayer. And the idea is that when really difficult things come, because they will, we will have this practice already in place, so that when the really difficult things come and we gather together on Thursday, it's not going to be to talk about all the things that are going on, but we can just dive into praying about that really difficult thing. And that really, for me, is what is most important about it, is that we have set up a practice so that there is room for that when it is most needed. And you have to start that practice when things feel comfortable. Because when things get uncomfortable, it's too late to start bringing in things to try to scramble and put it together. Or it's much more difficult. I won't say it's too late. It's never too late, but it's so much harder.
But it's a lot different. Yeah. If you're trying to establish a group and break down barriers like you discussed and create a habit of prayer because, hey, this super terrible thing has happened. I don't know what that would be.
I don't either.
We'll knock on wood again. Not COVID part 2 or whatever issue might be attacking the church, attacking our members, or sickness. Then you're like, oh, we should have been praying every other Thursday night. And now we need to learn how to do that. So it might look different for us, but give yourself some credit. I think that first century church you're describing looks really similar to what's going on here. Very simple. It's not about pomp and circumstance. It's easy to get into the microphone at the building and pray publicly and feel like you got to say the right things. But when you're just around a table with some microwave leftovers and maybe a loaf of bread that someone brought for everyone else, it's much more pure. It's really pure. And people then talk with each other so openly with a purpose. I think very secularly, it can be tempting to get together to complain. Complaining is kind of fun, and you can be like, these guys didn't hire me, and I can be like, the traffic, and then we can just leave. Versus, we come together for a purpose to pray, and if we really believe in prayer, then it's going to shape the way we ask people questions. I'm going to say, hey, I'm not just making conversation. I want to know, what should I be praying for? And then Jonathan, just like he did yesterday, how did your Tuesday night study go? And I know it's not just for making conversation, but it's for contributing he wants to contribute to that effort, and he's going to be praying about it. So
Absolutely.
that's special to me.
Can I touch back on something too?
Yeah.
When I said that prayer is a comfort, it can be taken to think that John prays so that he can feel good about having prayed. Like it's comforting just like in the act of it.
Okay.
Because it feels good to voice the things that we're going through. You mentioned like a secular
Mm-hmm.
thing is it's easy to complain. A secular thing is it's easy to talk about the things that we're going through, and it helps us feel better just to vent. You could say it's a practice in venting. But that's not, for me, like what prayer is, and I don't think for any Christian. It's not the wish list, and it's not a venting. It's a trust. It's a trust that, I am speaking these things to God, and I trust that he is going to take care of it. And that is the comfort. Not that I know how he's going to take care of it, or that he's going to do it in a way that is necessarily even like fun or nice for me, but trusting that and giving those things over to God and trusting that he's going to take care of it for us. That's where the comfort comes from.
Yes.
At the root of it. So
I do know what you're saying there. I can say prayer is a comfort because prayer itself is, at least it should be, an act of trusting God.
yeah.
If you're lacking prayer in your life, it really could be symptomatic of a lack of trust.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very comforting. Versus to give your prayers over to God, give your worries over to him, not as a wish list, not as just to get to vent, but as an act of trust.
Mm-hmm.
That's true comfort.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in control here. God will take care of me. And earlier, you're dropping all sorts of scripture, so I want to reference it just so the listeners get the book, chapter, verse. It was James chapter 4, verse 13. Come now, you who say today or tomorrow we'll go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell, make a profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? Verse 14. It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills. And so that's that act of prayer. That's a comfort. You're not giving him a wish list and saying, I want to go to such and such a city and make a profit.
Yeah.
You're saying, like, God, I want my life to align with yours.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came to this congregation, I've just immediately been impressed by the emphasis on prayer in Realm, in Jonathan's home, in the church building. So I'm trying to wrap my head around it more and find what prayer is. And I'm reading a book on it right now. It's on my desk, Timothy Keller, just called Prayer. It's in the chapter I'm reading right now is what is prayer? Mm-hmm. It's something to figure out, and really the best way to figure that out is by praying. So thank you for helping me with my prayer life. And if I can just take the mic for one more second, it's a really good example again on what opening up doors to your home can do. Mm-hmm. It's not just about sharing a meal together, saying like, okay, we had an event. It can really shape people's spiritual lives. You're helping people their prayer lives. You're connecting people together. Starting with that mindset of, I want to live close to the building so I can have people over. I want this to be what my home is for. So you're doing that. You should feel really proud of that. So thank you. Really thank you for me and my wife. You're helping us a ton.
Thank you.
Okay. We didn't talk about this beforehand. I usually like to just get us on the same page. But I like to end with just like a fun fact.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite verse in the Bible that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I
Yay.
do. I do, and it's a quirky one.
A quirky one.
It is. I mean, I feel so. Like, I'm often embarrassed when people ask, and what's your favorite verse? Ecclesiastes 7, 20 through 22.
Okay.
I'm going to let Will open to it.
Yeah.
It's quirky because it's really just like hyper-focused on a very single aspect of life, and it's not like directly related to salvation or the hope we have or any of those things. And so like I feel funny saying it's my favorite because obviously like my favorite thing about knowing God is that I have the hope of eternity with him.
Yes.
And and this doesn't seem like it relates to that directly, but it's been a good thing for me to remember and to just help me as I navigate relationships.
Okay. You said 7:21, Ecclesiastes 7
20 through 22.
20 through 22. Okay, I knew 21. I was like, is that what he's talking about
here?
here?
It is.
Let's read it because this is a good verse that I learned way too late in life.
Yeah. Do you want to read it?
Yes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You had me open up to it. No, you read it. This is your favorite quirky verse.
Surely there is not a righteous man on earth who does good and never sins. Do not take to heart all the things that people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. Your heart knows that many times you yourself have cursed others. And I don't think 20 often gets included in those verses. For me, it's a verse of self-reflection. Because we hear people say things, or we might not even hear them say it. Mm-hmm. We just hear that it's been said.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we don't even hear that it's been said. We just feel that people are talking about us.
And they're probably saying it. Yeah. They must be.
And it's easy to get caught up in worrying about that and focusing on that and stressing about that. And what this verse reminds me is like, I've said things without thinking about other people, or I've said things while thinking about other people that I probably shouldn't have said. And the reason I include verse 20 in it, surely there is not a righteous man on earth who does good and never sins. This is important to me because I often speak about things as if I am right.
Yeah.
And I do that because I want to put it forward in the strongest way possible so that it takes somebody equally as confident to disprove me. Because I'm looking for the truth. I'm looking for the truth. And if something is true, it's worth standing for. And if I believe what I'm saying is true, I'm going to put it forward as strongly as I can. And it's going to take somebody else putting it forward as strongly against me to prove me wrong. It's a problem I have if you talk to my wife. But I have to keep verse 20 in mind. Surely there's not a righteous man on earth who does good and never sins. What I believe to be true, what I believe to be right, I could be certain that I'm always doing the right thing. But I have to remember that I'm not perfect and that I'm not without sin. And I have to remember that self-righteousness gets me nowhere. I have to trust in God. And I don't know, my thoughts are getting muddled as I talk about this, but...
No, there's a lot there.
But there's a lot there, yeah.
There's a lot there, and I wouldn't call it quirky. I get what you mean. It's maybe a little bit off the beaten path of, salvation, but the point is so important. Do not take to heart everything people say. And I'll tell you, for most of my life, even sometimes still now, that's exactly what I do. I take everything to heart. And the reminder of verse 20 is like, hey, you're not perfect.
Yeah.
You're not perfect. And verse 21, like you've also, or sorry, verse 22, you've also said things about other people.
Yeah.
So if I say something, sorry, maybe not like the kindness about Jonathan, it doesn't mean I hate Jonathan.
Yes.
You've done it too.
It's a reminder for grace.
A reminder for grace.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's a reminder for grace towards others and grace towards yourself.
Yeah.
But really, I look at it as grace towards others. It's easy to justify your own actions. It's easy to forgive yourself. But taking this as an opportunity to remember, nobody's perfect. Things are going to be said about you. You've said things about other people. Let's just show some grace.
Yeah. And I think it is both. And now it's way less off the beaten path. I mean, that's pretty gospel centered. Grace for others, grace for yourself. Depending on who you're talking to, depending on the time of life, one can be harder than the other. And it's easy to hear what someone said about you and be like, it's because I'm the worst. I'm awful. That's why they said it's because they hate me. It's like, no. You said stuff about people that you don't hate. And also, like, you messed up. Like, sometimes people mess up, and that's okay. Yeah. Give grace to others. Give grace to yourself. Yeah. Hey, I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. And ends us right on the note that we wanted to. When I talked to Jonathan's brother, Ben, about doing this, he said, be careful talking to Jonathan with a mic. Like, he'll get going. He'll get yapping. But, I mean, my man was straight to the point, right on time. I think this will amount to just right at 30 minutes, which will be the goal for the podcast. And I hope that after this, I guess, second episode, first real episode, though, you're kind of getting a handle on what this will look like. We'll talk about Scripture. We'll talk about what's going on actively in someone's life, and then bring it all around at the end. So talk to Jonathan about this. Say, hey, thanks for taking the time to sit down with Will, and I learned stuff about you. I'll be praying about these things that are going on. Use this to consider one another. That's the whole point of the podcast. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. The Bible tells us to consider one another in order to stir up love and good works in each other. So thank you for stirring up love and good works in me just by listening to this episode. Oh, my chair squeaks so bad.
Do you want to swap out for one of these guys?
I think so. This will go in the blooper reel.